It's good morning, Gordon Glenister. Welcome to Yellow Shelf.
Welcome, Joanna. Lovely to be here on a Monday morning. Well, a
Monday
Monday
morning.
evening for you.
Yes, I love that. I love this global connection because, interestingly enough, Gordon, we're talking today about your podcast,
Mhm.
Influence Global Podcast. Tell us all about it. What do we need to know?
Okay, so it started back in 2019. A bit of a funny story, actually, because I entered the influencer marketing industry by complete accident. So I used to run a trade association for 11 years. And then in 2018, I decided to set my own consultancy up to help and support other
Sure.
association leaders. And one of them I came up to was the Branded Content Marketing Association. And when I was speaking in a London hotel, we were just talking about with Andrew how we could actually do something together. I'm just about to leave the meeting. And then I said to him, why don't we create an industry body for influencers and influencer marketing? So anyway, basically, I've got a lot of experience in running industry bodies. So we did that. But of course, whilst I knew a lot about industry bodies, I knew nothing about influencer marketing. So
Yeah.
I thought, well, what better way to, to start to learn about the sector, but actually to do two things: A, write a book, and B, to set up a podcast. Because one of my great sayings is your influence is as much about the company that you keep. So therefore, by having influential guests on my show, then obviously it will not only promote my standing within the sector, but it will also help the industry body that we were trying to grow. So that's what happened, and I hadn't had no experience in creating a podcast. Obviously, I thought, well, let's start with somebody quite good. So I started with a friend of mine who was already an established influencer. We actually recorded it in a radio studio.
Wow.
For many years, we've changed now, but for many years, I had my producer Neil had come from a radio background, so he was a radio DJ. So, we got that great sound quality, which was fantastic. But then I realized that, I can't keep going into the studio because also I'm going to have to pay for this
Yes.
and also the editing. And as much as anything else,
Yeah.
getting a podcast off the ground isn't easy.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're now still going strong, over 200 episodes
Wow.
where we interview influential people, perhaps with a link to influencer marketing, but actually I'm also looking for people that have influence in some shape or form.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love you sharing, the backstory and almost the accidental way that you started a podcast.
Right.
You mentioned more than 200 episodes. Technically, it's the ninth season for this one. I mean,
Yes, it
you're
is.
you're very seasoned in this space of sharing. I know you mentioned your book. Do you want to tell us about the book? Anything about and anything about you, Gordon? I mean, that's super interesting as well.
Well, of course, it's not the only, before I talk about the
Yeah.
book, it's not the only podcast I do.
Yes.
I also run the Membership World podcast where I interview leaders from trade associations and professional membership bodies.
Yeah.
So I'm very much in the influencer marketing and membership space, but they really do collide actually,
Yeah.
because if you think about it, most associations want to be seen as highly influential and
Oh,
perhaps lobby government and have their members, activate for them and advocate, as I was sort of
yes.
trying to think of. Um, but of course, influencers also increasingly want to create communities and
Of
memberships
course.
themselves. If you think a typical fitness influencer, they'll want to have a way of generating revenue that isn't just related on brand deals.
True.
Um, but yeah, just same time as the podcast is I wanted to, because obviously I now set this association up for influencer
Yeah.
marketing. But oh my God, I've done the technical. How on earth do I learn about the sector very
Yeah.
quickly? So I've tried to find some books on it, and I found a little bit. But I approached a publisher over here, Kogan Page, that specializes in business books. And I said to them, "Do you have a book on influencer marketing? I might be interested in writing one." And normally it's very difficult to get a publishing deal, as
Yes.
I'm sure you know.
Yes.
But I got one within 3 months, actually, which
Wow.
is insane. Yeah. I remember my sister saying to me, because I said, look, I've got an opportunity to do this. Do you
Yeah.
think I should do it? And my sister said, it will take you way longer than you think. My advice to you would be no. And actually, I do listen to a lot of what my sister said, but on this occasion, I did. I
Yeah.
went with my gut. And whilst the books, business books, don't necessarily make huge amounts of
Sure.
money, let's be honest, what it has been is an amazing calling card. And to find that it's been translated into Portuguese, and it's soon to be translated into Polish,
Wow.
Chinese, and only last week Arabic. So it
Yeah.
just shows you, and that's
Yeah.
that's been really fantastic. In fact, the biggest thing of all, though, in my entire career, I've done a few interesting things, but the one that brought me to tears, I think, was the fact that my first ever book, the publisher put it forward for the Business Book of the Year Awards,
Yeah.
and in London, I was a finalist. I made
Oh,
the final.
wow.
So I actually bought two influencers, two female influencers with me. So I thought, well, I might as well make a little bit of
Yeah.
a display about this. And
Clever.
it was such a fantastic event, and I to see my little baby up on the screen there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why I think it was quite momentous is because if I'm honest, although I've spoken on stage hundreds of times, and I'm not
Yes.
that comes second nature. I think writing a book which then was outside my comfort zone. And remember, I wrote a book with zero knowledge of influencer marketing.
Yeah.
Normally, you write a book with a lot of knowledge about your
Yeah.
sector. Well, I did, but what that did is it forced me to interview some amazing people.
Yeah.
So by the time the book actually came to be launched, all those people that were interviewed in the book, of
Yeah.
course, naturally shared it. So by complete
Yeah.
irony, I used an influencer strategy to write the
Yeah.
book.
Very clever. It's like, do as I do. Here's the playbook.
Well,
Yeah.
also otherwise, if you're teaching people about influencer marketing, as I now do, you've got to feel like you're walking the walk.
Yeah.
Even though I haven't got millions of views, because
Yeah.
obviously influencer marketing is quite a tight niche,
Yes.
and I would say to people, don't go after the numbers, go after your passion, go
Yeah.
after your niche,
Yes.
and the followers and the relevant followers will
Yeah.
come to
And they'll stay. That's what I
you.
found. They'll
Sure.
stay.
Yeah.
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 Gordon, it is fascinating. There is so many episodes, so many guests, so many discussions. I recommend people take a listen, dive in just to get their head around some of your great content. Gordon, tell us if we're watching anywhere around the world, if we're curious about you and the show, how do we
Mm.
connect with you? I know you've got a fabulous website, but point us in the direction you want to go.
Okay, great. Well, I have listed the podcasts actually on my website as well, and all of the other things that I do. So, gordonglenister.com is probably the best place for you to see that. But I'm also on all of the main social media channels as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, Gordon, I will put that in the show notes to make it easy for anyone who's curious to find you and to connect. I feel like selfishly I could sit here and pick your brain about questions. This is fascinating, this area. But
Well,
yeah, look,
influence is. One thing I'll sort of leave with you is a great quote that Jeff Bezos said, which is,
yeah,
"A brand is what somebody says about you when you're not in the room." So
yes,
in a way, it's not what you tell me you are; it's what I think you are, and what I then say to somebody else.
clever.
So one of the most important lessons of all is focus on your North Star. Don't be all things to all people,
Yes,
but double down on an expertise that you can really nail, and
yes.
then make sure that you drive the content that fits that objective.
Oh, that is gold. Thank you, Gordon. That's awesome. Thanks so much for joining us at Yellow Shelf.
My pleasure.
Cheers.